What is going down, Sourdough Squad? Is this game coming up against the Cardinals a trap game? Should we be on the alert that the San Francisco 49ers are going to be able to walk through this game, or are the Cardinals going to play them very tough? Not only that, we are currently waiting for Brock Purdy to come to the podium. So we'll do what we did last week. We'll do the simulcast of Brock talking to the media. We'll react, and then we will get into our topic. So you guys already know what to do. Smash that like button. Drop an SDS in the chat as soon as Brock comes up. We will simulcast it and then react, and then anything goes after that. So, as you know, drop that SDS. Let's get it. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. Look at all the SDS hopping in. Was good, everybody. How are we doing today? It's Thursday. That means we're one day closer to the 49ers going 4-0 in the Bird Gauntlet. Very much looking forward to that. Shout out to all you guys. While we wait for Brock Purdy to come to the podium, let's talk about some of the news that has just dropped earlier from Steve Wilkes and what we have also learned about Aaron Banks, which may be a concern here moving forward. But let's start with the good news, shall we? So we found out just a couple minutes ago that Dre Greenlaw is expected to play against the Cardinals. And why is this big news? It's because Dre Greenlaw did not practice the last 2 days in a row, which is very concerning. Typically, when you get a guy not practicing 2 days in a row, that is a trend that you don't necessarily love to see. So I did a video on it earlier. I was like, all right, I'm officially on Dre Greenlaw watch. At first, I thought it was more of just, bit of rest, recovery type thing. And then I was like, oh boy, he didn't play. He didn't practice 2 days in a row. That's not a good sign for the San Francisco 49ers. However, Steve Wilkes put our mind at ease and says that Dre Greenlaw is expected to play against the Cardinals. So, whoo! Because as you guys know, the 49ers are already dealing with injuries at the linebacker position. Oren Burks is expected to miss a couple weeks. He's a very good contributor on the defensive side as LB3 and special teamer. And so if Dre Greenlaw wasn't going to be playing, you're like, oh my goodness. So that means we're going Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, who plays really well and is a great special teamer, but we're going Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles and likely D Winters as your starting three linebackers. So obviously we want Dre Greenlaw out there, especially going up against an extremely mobile quarterback in Kyler Murray. That's just a guy you want out on the field at all times. So that's good news. However, not so good news for Aaron Banks. Aaron Banks has kind of been dealing with some injuries this year. He's missed some time previously. But Aaron Banks missed practice today with what appears to be a hip injury. So not great. Which is, again, trending in the wrong direction for the simple fact of he practiced yesterday, and then he showed up as a DNP today. And then another situation that was like that was with running back Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell practiced yesterday as a limited participant, and then showed up today as a DNP. So he's trending in the wrong direction. Um, so these are things that we're going to have to continue to monitor throughout the week. Uh, but some good news, some not great. So we'll figure out what that totally looks like moving forward to get a good determination of the health of all the players, because that's the number one thing I would say moving from here to potentially playing in the Super Bowl. It would be simple fact of health. The 49ers biggest threat to them going really deep uh, on a run to the Super Bowl is health. It really is. Other than that, they're good to go. So we'll see. But no Aaron Banks today. So that will be something that we continue to monitor. No Charvarius Ward today either. Charvarius Ward dealing with the groin injury. So couple things to be on the lookout for based on the practice updates. So let me get this one out. 49ers Aaron Banks hip was downgraded from yesterday and did not practice per reports. All right. So as you guys know, we are waiting for Brock Purdy to hop on the screen. So we'll do a little simulcast, Brock Purdy, and then we'll talk some 49ers football. Okay, got my post out. But I am happy that Dre Greenlaw's back, though. That would have not been good. I would have not been very, very happy with that. So good for Dre. Need Dre. 100% need Dre. All right. I'm up to speed. Cap lurking in the background. Smash that like button. What's good, Callie? What's good to all the SDS gang? How confident are we? I think I'm pretty darn confident. I heard Fred Warner talking about this game on his podcast, The Warner House, and he's kind of got the same mentality of this isn't a team that you can sleepwalk on. So what I'm hearing from the 49ers perspective is the 49ers are definitely giving the Arizona Cardinals their respect. They definitely understand how well they're playing, how hard they're playing. And when you have a quarterback like Kyler Murray, who's playing as well as he can, got to be careful. Got to be careful. Charles Johnson says, great cam video, Brad. I'm a subscriber now after that. Welcome aboard, Charles. Welcome to the SDS. Boy, your boy set the world on fire by posting that cam video, man. I don't know if you guys had saw that podcast had been out for about 7 days, and then I came across it, in my feed on Instagram. I made the reaction video, and then I posted the clip of Cam to Twitter and Instagram, and that thing went crazy. That's I've gone viral a couple times this year, but that's up there. I mean, there's nothing that I did. All I did was download the video and repost it. But No one was talking about it before I reposted that thing, and boy, that thing went crazy. Everyone was talking about that. Everyone was talking about that comment that Cam made. And again, we've talked about it a million times. It really just comes down to I don't think Cam watches the tape. He doesn't watch. He's not watching Brock like that. So it's really easy to call guys like Brock Purdy a game manager and whatever. But I wonder if he gets asked about it today. I think that's going to be one of the things that will be interesting, kind of about the evolution of journalism today, right? Because I think we talked about this last week with Brock Purdy being asked about the backwards hat situation with Colin Cowherd. Um, and the fact that that kind of situation made it to Brock to be asked about it, it just to me signifies kind of the changing of the media landscape, right? Like um the things that get traction in today's world, in today's social media driven world. So I am interested to see if he's asked about that. I would be imagine he would because of the sheer fact it was a massive talking point. Everyone's talking about it. So I imagine he'll be asked. So it'll be interesting to see what his response could potentially be um, about the Cam situation. But the bottom line, when talking about the doubters of Brock Purdy and the fact that people are still trying to tear him down and tear down his accomplishments and not give him the credit for what he's doing is it's the world that we live in. And to be honest, I like it. I've talked about this before. I like it. I think for covering this team now, I started doing this in 20 I really started doing this in 2018. Um and have been covering the Niners since. I started dabbling in covering the Niners around 2017, but I really got into it in the beginning of 2018. And I've been nonstop ever since. So, in my experience of covering this team for that long, um, it's been it's been a trend that I've noticed. The 49ers are always a team that have been doubted in that time frame. Even when they were 8-0 in the 2019 season, they were called the Pretenders. Remember, Ryan Clark, RC called them the Pretenders. The 49ers completely latched on to that nickname. I remember Kowalski making Instagram posts calling themselves the Pretenders, all these different types of things. And since then, I think the 49ers have really been the team has been galvanized by people doubting them and people, remember it happened to Jimmy Garoppolo. Tons of people were coming after Jimmy Garoppolo. Remember how many questions all these players are being asked about Jimmy, and they've been asked so many quarterback questions over the years that I guarantee you they're numb to it by now. But I think it took a while for them to get numb to it, and so as a result of that, they took it personally, and so that's kind of the culture of this locker room for the 49ers. From my experience of covering them, the way I cover them, um, I think that I think they really relish in the trash talk. I think they really relish in proving people wrong. I don't think it's their main goal. I don't think it's their main motivation. I don't think that has anything to do with their driving, focus of being great. However, I do think they hear it. I do think they see it, they read it, they listen to it, and it motivates them. I do. I do think it does. So when you have a guy like Brock Purdy who's playing as well as he is and doing the things that he's doing, and you still got people trying to tear him down. I think the locker room was used to this. They all like have Brock's back. They've had it for a long time now. And as you continue to hear these opinions come out, sometimes whether misinformed, uh, just bad takes on Brock, and it gets back to them. I think they pay attention to it. I really do. And I think they get some joy in it. It's just a little extra juice, a little extra a little extra salt on top. Um, you know, I think true competitors are about that life. Um, so questioning them, doubting them, it's just pouring gasoline on the fire. So Patrick says, "Stop with the trap game talks." Why? Why stop with the trap game talks? Do we not acknowledge that trap games exist? Do we not? Do we remember the Cleveland Browns game? We got beat by PJ Walker. PJ Walker got cut. PJ Walker got cut by the Browns. Joe Flacco is their starter now. They're on their fourth quarterback. And I'm not saying that's going to happen again. However, I am saying that I think just something that we got to keep our eye on is the Cardinals are playing well. And throughout the years, the Cardinals are that one team that have really played us really well for a long time. I don't know what it is. You know how like for the longest time, in the regular season, the 49ers own the Rams, right? So that whole situation happens. Then it's like the Seattle Seahawks had the leg on us for a good part of a decade. And then, well, thankfully that's switched. Ever since Brock Purdy has showed up, the 49ers are undefeated against the Seattle Seahawks. But again, those Cardinals teams are weird. Weird. Because how they've beaten us in the past. And again, Aponte and I were talking about this yesterday on State of the Franchise. Like, we always come back to the Colt McCoy game, where Colt McCoy put us in the wood chipper and cooked us. And we're like, Colt McCoy? We got cooked by Colt McCoy? What's happening? So
got a new haircut. Yeah. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. What's that? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think so. I got some family friends, so I gotta look clean.
Is there added pressure because it's the first time you're going home and playing as a 49er starter?
Yeah, I'm excited. To sort of just have, I guess, my family, my friends, just people in my life growing up, man. To just be there. So should be fun.
How do you balance that? You've done such a great job with everything that's been thrusted upon you, but it's a little bit different when you're playing in front of family and friends. You still want to impress, I would imagine.
Yeah, most definitely. But I mean, I feel like it's sort of been like that already. Every game, I feel like there's family and friends that either come to games or tuned in watching on TV and stuff. So nothing changes. Once we line up, it's 11-on-11 football, and I got to do my assignments and play quarterback, and that's about it. So
ballpark estimate of how many people you'll have this game?
I'm not really sure the whole number, but I'm only doing tickets just for my family, just because there's a lot of people, So, but I know that there's a lot of people that have bought tickets and they'll be there supporting. So very thankful for that.
Can you walk us through your thought process on Christian's long run? What you're looking for as you sprint down there?
Yeah, I saw him, sort of just make his cut early on, and I only saw a couple guys downfield and BA running. So I was all right. I'm going to just try to get down there. And if Christian ends up cutting back, I want to hopefully be able to get in front of a guy or make a block for him. And so Christian started pulling away, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get there. And then he made his cut back, and I was like, dang it, I should have done it. I should have just kept going. So that was my mindset, though. I saw BA, doing his thing, blocking for him. And if he made any kind of cutback, I just wanted to be there for him. So
you really want to sign the yellow hard hat, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, 100%. I want to be a part of that club.
Brock, before the game, Jerry Rice came by and kind of dapped you up a little bit and had some words. Can you share what Jerry said to you? And how cool is that for the greatest receiver of all time, touching base with you before the game?
Yeah, it was cool. I sort of just got a pat on the back, and I looked over, and it was Jerry, and just dapped him up, and he just said ball out today. Sort of just kept it simple. And but the fact that he did that and came over as I was warming up, I thought was pretty cool. Obviously he's a idol to many and a legend here as a 49er. To be able to play in the same organization as him is really special. So that was cool.
Have you talked much with Joe or Steve?
When they've come to games, I've talked to them in person a little bit, but not in terms of calling or anything. So yeah.
Shanahan was talking yesterday about how a lot of times the communication with players, he will FaceTime them or they'll usually text back with him. How do you usually deal with Kyle, and how has that relationship kind of spawned over the last year where you guys mesh so well now?
Yeah, I mean, he'll just shoot me a text every once in a while if he wants me to come in and meet. We like meeting, more in person than anything. And after a game or something on my drive home, he usually just shoot me a call and go over some things, how we're thinking, our initial thoughts and stuff. So he does a good job with just all the guys, in general, in terms of keeping in touch and making sure everyone's good, but where we're at and how we can be better. So he does a great job with that. But yeah, over the last year, definitely obviously has, we've talked a lot more and stuff. We have to be on the same page. We're trying to obviously accomplish the same goals and stuff. So it's been cool, to sort of see our, I guess, relationship evolve over the last year and stuff. So yeah.
You have a question about the game plan in the middle of the night that comes to your mind. Will you text Brian Greasy instead, or will you go right to Kyle?
I'll probably wait till the morning. I'm trying to get my sleep, and I know they are too. But if something ever did come to mind, they wouldn't mind if I shot them a text at all. So either one of them would be ready to answer.
Well, was the last time you were at the Cardinals Stadium when you got your Gatorade Player of the Year award, or have you been there since?
I played in the Fiesta Bowl in 2020 against Oregon there in that stadium. Yep, that was the last time I was there.
Brock, after the game, you mentioned that Jamal Adams was flat-footed. That was something that you noticed. Do you remember when you, in your quarterback career, when you started noticing different tells of players and how you could take advantage of that?
I mean, you could say film study and all that kind of stuff, which is true to an extent. For me in that play, it wasn't necessarily just Jamal. It was like whoever's playing that safety position, with our play call and where we were at in the game. When we had called that play, the first thing was to identify what the safety structure looked like. And then Jamal happened to be playing safety there. And I just looking at him with a couple steps that I was taking in my drop, I saw that he was flat-footed and that kind of thing. But, I mean, there are some things that you can see on film with guys and they show some tells and whatnot. But, for me, at the end of the day, I still have to catch the ball, drop back, and react and obviously anticipate things, which is great and which you can learn from film study. But, for me in the moment, it's being able to see the safety structure, post-snap, the rotation, things like that, and then react and hit guys that are open. So I like to sort of somewhat keep it simple, but, in that play that I watched film a million times on Jamal Adams and say, I'm going to get this, to be honest, no. So, yeah.
Where your processing got slower or felt slower, so you feel like you can make or see more before you actually throw the ball?
I mean, a little bit, yeah. I mean, just playing within this offense and in this system with the guys up front blocking and then trusting in the guys running the concepts that we've run, over games and since camp and stuff. all that has helped me. It has helped me just process things, help slow things down a little bit. But the game is still fast, and it's not like I've mastered it at all. I feel like it'll always be a challenge, every game, every snap. But it sort of has, I've gotten more familiar with what we're trying to do, so it has helped.
Rock, do you consider yourself a game manager?
There it is.
I don't know, man. I don't want to comment on that. I'm like I said, I'm playing quarterback, trying to win games, and we'll see at the end of all of it. So, yeah.
Completion rate on deep passes is the highest that I've found on record. Is this the most
Grant's
comfortable
2 for
you've
2.
been throwing the deep ball, not just in your NFL career, but going back to college and high school?
Yeah, I'd say so. I forgot who I was talking to earlier this week. Just in terms of, I feel like I've always been efficient with the quick game, the intermediate game, all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to pushing the ball downfield, sort of just understanding what we're trying to do as an offense. And once we get those kinds of opportunities, being aggressive and letting it rip. And I feel like right now, probably, out of all the years I've been playing football, this is probably the best in terms of, pushing the ball downfield and being efficient in that area, not just throwing it up in hopes for someone to grab it, but being efficient when I take my shots. And I feel like it is probably the best that I've been throwing the deep ball right now.
Just looking back at the course of this season, I remember week 2 against the Rams, you missed a couple. Since then, it's gotten better and better. Was there some kind of just physical knocking off of the rust that's happened over the course of this year as it relates specifically to deep passes?
I mean, maybe, obviously I was hard on myself after that Rams game, missing those couple deep shots. And then just being real with myself, at practice and stuff, and working on just mechanics and little things and timing with the receivers and being on the same page with them. And I think all those little things have helped and they've paid off. But I feel like there's still some areas where I can get better at with it. And that's that. But yeah, I feel good with where I'm at right now.
Left-handed dropbacks by design, and how do you feel comfortable? Do you feel comfortable with that? Dropping back as a lefty, flipping your hips, and taking a look at the field. What would be the purpose of that?
Yeah, it's just another way, for us to move the pocket, sort of just get some movement within, our system, our play calls. In a sense, it's another way of play action, but to be able to roll left and flip our hips and still get the ball where it needs to, wherever at on the field. Something we've been working on since camp. I feel like it's somewhat of just a new thing teams are doing nowadays, in the shotgun, rolling left a little bit and then flipping the hips and then being able to deliver. I've never done anything like that, growing up or college or high school or anything. So, but after, last year of installing those kinds of plays, I like it a lot. I like how we do it. So, yeah, I'm down for it.
Ron was said that when he was a coordinator, he's had a couple of quarterbacks where you go over a chunk of 10 plays and 8 of them were right and 2 of them were wrong. And he would spend all of his time going over the 2 that were wrong. And then the quarterback would go, hey, what about these other 8? And you did those right. Let's fix the ones that are wrong. Does that kind of teaching resonate with you?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like we need it. I love that kind of coaching, honestly. At the end of the day, you have a standard for yourself. You want to be consistent as best as possible. As a quarterback in the NFL, like there's little room, to mess up. And so I think if you're in the NFL and you're a quarterback, you got to be somewhat of a perfectionist. You want those 2 plays back. You want to learn from them and grow from them. If they're just telling you how great you are and stuff, there's going to be a time throughout the season at some point where you probably get exposed with maybe those little things like that. So Kyle does a great job. Obviously, all the years of coaching and experience that he has of pointing those things out and harping on them, not just to, down you out or anything, but to be real and help you. And we're all trying to win, and that's what it takes. And so he does a good job with that.
Radio, you got your elbow in part, I think, all the maintenance you did, all the exercises you did, it may actually be stronger, and you want to continue to do those exercises because of that. Was that discussed like pre-surgery, like this could happen, like your elbow could be stronger, or was that even not just a topic? Was it just like, let's get it back to where it was?
A little bit of both. I think the main emphasis was let's get back to normal first. Let's get cleared. Let's get healthy. Let's compete again. And then if everything goes as well, like obviously stick to the plan of of whatever I was doing for my arm to get it stronger. And I feel like regardless of getting hurt or not, like that's something that as a professional athlete, you always want to find the little things to help you get better. And I mean, if we're being real, like my rookie year coming out of college, I feel like there's so many areas I could have got better, like physically, as a thrower. And so this whole last year, I've still been, trying to mold into the quarterback that I want to be, the thrower I want to be. And obviously, I want to continue to do the things that I've learned throughout rehab and stuff to become who I want to be. So, but I think at the time it was more about getting healthy and getting back for game one more than anything. I want to say somewhat after the season. I was figuring out, surgery, who I was going to go to in terms of a surgeon and sort of just what the whole process looked like. And it's not that I was freaking out or anything, but I just wanted to talk to a guy who had been through it. And so a bunch of the guys here had recommended Nick. They said he's a great guy. So I shot him a text, and then he called me right away, and he was awesome. Just told me what he went through, what he felt, right after, how long it sort of took until he got back to normal, and sort of what to expect. So he was awesome. And I always remember that conversation. And honestly, if the things that I've been through so far have been to a T of what he said. So it's great advice from him. Thanks, guys.
All right. Ooh, we got a little. If you think Brock Purdy deserves MVP, press 1. I like it. I like it. All right. Get out of that. So he was asked, Brock Purdy, 2 for 2 on in the last 2 weeks, being asked about other people's assessment of him. And Brock Purdy is also now 2 for 2 for handling it like a franchise quarterback yet again. So props to Brock Purdy continuing to be a true professional at the podium. It's crazy. It's crazy how mature Brock Purdy is. He is a man just beyond his years from a maturity standpoint. Just all of it, dude. How he handles all of this, his ability to stay confident, to not let the outside noise drag him down. I mean, he's 23 years old. I'm old now. What is it? Kyle Shanahan's birthday today. Kyle Shanahan, and when I say I'm old in my brain, because I think in my brain I still think I'm a kid. So in my brain, like I'm like a kid, but I'm not. So that's what I'm saying there. Kyle Shanahan turned 44 today. I'm 34. He's 23. Being 23 years old and being one of the number one talking points for the majority of the season in the NFL, and being able to handle that, being able to be the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers and be able to manage all of those things. Like, I could not imagine at 23 years old. I would be you put me in Brock's role at 23 years old, I'm out the league. I'm like, oh no, this is too much. This is too much for me. I don't know if I can handle this. Man, 23-year-old at the podium, just like it's no big deal. Like it's another day in the office. Who cares? Whatever. Ask me whatever you want. I don't care. asked about, basically, again, indirectly asked about comments about, other people outside the building and uh, their evaluations of Brock. And he's just, he chuckled and he said, no comment. No comment. And just moves on. Just moved on from it. He's like, all right, whatever. I'm not gonna. And again, that's the smart franchise quarterback in him that understands if he comments, he's creating another round of headlines, he's creating another round of reactions, he's creating content for other people, he's creating content for Cam Newton. So he's smart, man. He's smart. He's just like, he laughed. No comment. No comment. Deebo Samuel said the same thing. Deebo Samuel was asked about Cam Newton's comments. Deebo said straight up, no comment. Deebo's smart, man. Deebo's figured it out. I've been watching a lot of Deebo Samuel interviews. I watch pretty much all of these guys' interviews, whether it's through the team or whether it's through other entities. Deebo's gotten smart. He realized how, I think, internally Deebo would love to say whatever he's feeling. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he will say whatever. He'll stand on it. He'll say it. He believes what he says, but he's understood the game that the media plays, that they start to take advantage of him saying whatever he wants to say. And then that is spun into talking points for other entities. So the part of, being in the spotlight for these guys and being asked questions consistently is knowing how to answer them, knowing when to give a response and when not to give a response. And Brock is phenomenal at that. He really is. He's phenomenal. He's like, no comment. There you go. And that's where the Cam Newton thing dies. He just killed the Cam Newton thing. We had a couple days of talking about it, and it's over. It's over now because Brock didn't have a response for it. So kudos to Brock again, a true professional, whether on the field, or at the podium. Good job to him. Good job to him. Man, how good does it feel having a franchise quarterback? How good does it feel? Having a guy 23 years old at the podium, not fazed by a single thing. Dude literally couldn't be fazed by anything. I'm convinced of it. I'm convinced of it now. He has literal ice in his veins. He does it all the time too, right? Like, he tells you all the time, I got ice in my veins. He's like, I got ice in my veins. You ain't messing with me. Like, you can do whatever you want. You ain't messing with me. I'm him. I'm that guy. So shout out to Brock, man. What a legend. I can't believe we got a franchise quarterback out of Mr. Irrelevant. It's just, to me, it's still surreal because, like I've told you guys, it was always my intention to give Brock the entire season to determine if he was going to be our franchise quarterback. Because to me, that's a big label to put on someone that kind of got thrust into the position that he was. I'll acknowledge how good Brock is every step of the way. But in regards to just that notion of being the franchise, like, I still wanted to see a little bit more. And I was like, I'm going to take the whole season. I'm not going to rush through it, but he's the franchise. He's him. And so what I would say, like, about three or 4 weeks ago, I think it was what he did to the Jags after he beat the Jags and proved he can come out of the bye and respond the way he responded. I was like, yeah, franchise. That's franchise right there. So he continues to handle himself as a professional, and he's not phased by none of it. He's not phased by none of the fishing for comments or anything. He's great. He's great. So I shout out Brock. Shout out Brock. He's him. He's him. DJ's oh, now I might have to go check this out. He says, Brad, go back to your show when we drafted him. You pretty much said what you're saying now, so you're staying true to your word. Hey, I liked Brock. I've told the story before. He became on my radar in the draft process because I went to the combine and there was a Iowa State tight end that stood out to me. And so I went back and I watched the tape, and I remember coming on and talking about, oh, this Brock Purdy kid. I mean, we had the Mr. Irrelevant pick. I was like, he would be the perfect Mr. Irrelevant. And I started drafting him in all my mock drafts in that slot. I had no idea that he would be what he is today. I would be lying to you if I was like, yeah, I knew Brock was going to be the franchise quarterback. Literally, I went to training camp Brock's rookie year, and I didn't even pay attention to him. I talk about it all the time. I went to training camp, and I was not there to evaluate Brock. I was there to evaluate Trey Lance. But it was funny. Nick Bosa talked about it. I came across a video of Nick Bosa doing an interview on 95.7 The Game, and he talks about like Brock and just he was like, Brock was not on my radar at all throughout training camp. Like, you know, Mr. Irrelevant, third round pick. Like, he's like, nah, I didn't think twice about Brock Purdy. You know, so I'm like, all right, I feel better. I feel better that I'm not the only one who didn't pay attention to Brock Purdy in training camp. Even Nick Bosa didn't. So I'm like, all right, well, that makes me feel better. Oh, good stuff. But it was really easy to see how quickly Brock started to right away. But anyways, do you guys have any concerns about the Cardinals coming up? And I do want to kind of preface it in the way that whenever we've been ultra confident, those have been the close games. Like, I don't know what it is. This season, but a trend that I feel like I've noticed, at least for me, is that when I feel overconfident, those are the close games. And then when I feel like it's going to be a close game, those are the blowouts. So that it's been a very interesting trend. Like, I remember going back to week 2 against the Rams, thought it was going to be a blowout. That game was way closer than anticipated. Then, like, going into the Cowboys, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a close one. It's going to be a close game. 49ers blow them out the water. You know, I thought they were going to beat the Vikings easy. Vikings took it to them. So it's just like, you really never know. You never know who's going to show up with the juice on that given day. So, and again, one of my big keys and why I'm bringing this up, because I already feel like the Arizona Cardinals are a team that we need to watch for and need to give a little bit more credit to, and not just assume that we're going to sleepwalk into Arizona and just beat these guys. All the 49ers are talking about them very highly. The fact that Kyle Shanahan compared the 49ers in 2017 to them, I was like, oh, that, there's a lot of coach speak, right? A lot of coach speak where they just say nothing, but they're talking. You know what I mean? For him to go out of his way to compare the Cardinals to his 2017 team, which I remember very well, and I remember exactly what they were made of and how they were competing that year that they weren't winning. And he's like, they resemble us very much so. And I'm like, oh. And that was a team that beat the AFC, one of the AFC representatives in the AFC Championship, the at the time, the Red Hot Jaguars beat a playoff team in the Tennessee Titans, right? Remember down the stretch? They started to improve as the season went on when Jimmy went in. Well, this time they've got Kyler back and they're starting to improve even more. They've already got that like heart to fighting spirit, but now you put Kyler in there. And although, I'm always for a good Kyler slander session. Um, you know, but he's one of those guys. He's a slippery quarterback. He's a guy that can escape the pocket, extend plays, do things downfield. And that has been the 49ers like Achilles heel the past couple seasons when it comes to defending quarterbacks. So we'll see. I still think the 49ers win, but I am happy to hear how they're talking about this game. I am happy to hear that they're giving them the credit they deserve, in the sense of that I think they understand what it is. I think they understand that this isn't just like even though they're like slated to draft, I think third overall based on their record. I still think staying humble and recognizing that you have an opponent that can get you if you're not fully on your P's and Q's. So I think they'll be all right. I think they'll be okay, but I do think it is something that I think it could be a more competitive game than we anticipate. So we'll see. We'll see. I wish Talanoa Hufanga was playing. I was really looking forward to the rematch of James Conner and Talanoa Hufanga. I don't know if you guys remember from earlier on in the season when we played Arizona. Connor and Talanoa got into it to the point where Connor put hands on Talanoa Hufanga's face when he wasn't wearing his helmet, and he got a little chippy. So I was looking forward to that rematch, but I wonder if the 49ers players remember that. I'm sure they do. But definitely something, maybe add a little extra juice. A little extra juice. Nothing wrong with a little extra juice. I'm all for extra juice. But we'll see, man. We'll see. Have you guys did you guys watch the Jair Brown interview with Richard Sherman yet? I got to it. Jair, dude. You know what's funny to me? And I'll ask you guys this. if you see a resemblance, but does Jair Brown remind you of Steve Wilkes at all? When I'm listening to Jair Brown speak, like the pace of his voice, the kind of deep voice that he has, the facial expressions, it's kind of I'm like, dude, are you Steve Wilkes' son? Like, if you go and watch Steve Wilkes talk and then you go and watch Jair Brown talk, I'm like, dude, you guys sound the same. I was like, are you guys related? And it's funny because those two had a big connection throughout the pre-draft process. Um, he's a DB. Steve Wilkes is DB's coach. I'm like, dang. Like, I feel like I'm low key watching an interview of Steve Wilkes, like how he talks. But Jair's dope, man. I really like Jair. I liked him as a player on the field, but when you start to figure out like what Jair Brown is, like you start to evaluate the person, you start to evaluate the psychology of who he is, like he's solid, man. He's a solid kid. Community college kid. No offers coming out of high school. Goes to community college. Gets recruited by Penn State. And dude, just the way he talks about football is he's so confident in himself. And it's the most humble confidence ever. He's like, he said something about, it's like, man, I played in front of like 110,000 at Penn State. It was no big deal coming into that game, his first game, like into that game against the Bucks. He's like, yeah, it's no big deal. Yeah, I played in front of 110,000 in college, at home games. He's like, no big deal. It's like, damn, like that. He's not phased. He's not phased. He's said these things before, man. He's said a lot of these things. Like he's like, well, I'm a ball hawk, when talking about getting his interception. He's like, well, I've got a lot of I'm used to getting interceptions. That's not a big deal. Like I'm just like, all right, all right. You guys want to talk injury updates? We can. I'll wrap up with the injury update. So we got actually a bunch of stuff to kind of come through. This is the practice report from earlier today. You had no practice from Eric Armstead, Ross Dwelly. Elijah Mitchell was the one who trended in the wrong direction. He was limited participant yesterday, didn't practice today. Drake Greenlaw didn't practice for the second day in a row, but he did, at least according to Steve Wilkes, is expected to play versus the Cardinals, so that's a good sign. What else do we got? Oren Burks, obviously we know, is out. Javon Hargrave and Mooney Ward were working off to the side. Spencer Burford, Ambry Thomas are back in, and the big one was Aaron Banks was downgraded to DNP, so he did not participate. And so it looks like Feliciano could be on the move again. So Spencer Burford's back at right guard. Man, I don't know why my mic just keeps randomly muting itself. But Feliciano should be going back to the left side. I don't know if anyone's talking about it. Obviously, I was super high on the Jonathan Feliciano signing when it happened, after getting into his tape. But he has been one of the best free agent pickups that the 49ers have had. He's saving the 49ers offensive line right now. It is so difficult to deal with injuries on the offensive line, it really messes up the continuity. It really messes up the rhythm when you have injuries. And the fact that he's able to bounce from left to right, left to right, left to right, and he just plays somehow the O-line gets better when he's in. He's probably you probably consider him, the best, one of the best free agent signings that we've had in a while, just considering the impact he's already had, the depth that he brings to the table. And just how he's plug and play. He's plug and play. Just put him wherever. He's gonna ball out. So he's been great. He's been absolutely phenomenal. He should be a starter. He is a starter. And the 49ers just have a logjam. They have 6 starters right now. And so they've been dealing with a lot of injuries at their guard spots, and the fact that they have Feliciano to fill right in and they don't skip a beat, that is crazy. Like, that doesn't happen all the time. So Feliciano, he needs his flowers for his impact on this year. He's saved them in a lot of different ways because, if you didn't have Feliciano, you would have guys like before he went down, Nick Sakel going in. And now Nick Sakel's hurt. So if you didn't have Feliciano and then Nick Sakel's hurt, who do you have going in? You got some unknowns starting at guard, which would not be a good scenario for the 49ers. So Feliciano's been great. So we got Feliciano. There he is, getting his flowers. It was funny. I did the video. Maybe I need to do one with Feliciano too. I did the video. It's time to give Javon Kinlaw his flowers. And some dude wrote like a paragraph talking about how weird it is to be a man and then use the phrase give another man his flowers. And I'm just like and again, this is going on a little bit of a rant right now. But I was just like in my head, I was like, man, how insecure in your masculinity do you have to be to comment a paragraph on a video just talking about how the phrase giving someone their flowers is just too weird for you. It's just like, man, I was like, you got not, and then this doesn't represent the whole group at all. I was just like, I almost commented back. I was like, it's not worth it. But here I am. I was just like, man, it's such a commonly used term to give them their flowers. Like it's a phrase, man. It's a phrase. Who cares? Who cares? So, anyways, rant. But I'm looking forward to this game. I can't believe how fast these weeks are flying. I can't believe it's already Thursday. We got Prediction Friday tomorrow. And then we have the hat and t-shirt game against the Cardinals. So it's clinching time for the San Francisco 49ers in regards to clinching the West. They've already clinched a playoff spot, first team to do so. Sitting in the driver's seat of the 1 seed in the NFC and can win the division yet again. So looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a competitive game. And in my mind, me saying that I think it's going to be a competitive game, in my heart, I'm saying, I hope it's a blowout. But we'll see. Appreciate you guys as always for tapping in. Grab your cookies on the way out if you stayed the whole way. Appreciate all you as always supporting the channel. Man, we've been doing big things on this channel. The channel is on fire right now, and I thank all of you guys for the continued support. Thank all of you for watching all the videos, clicking like, commenting, all those different stuff, all that different stuff. So huge for the channel. Guys, we did so I got my year in review on YouTube, and I might post it. But we did 1 million. I got 1 million likes on my videos. 1.1 million likes on my videos this year. It's that's crazy, man. That I got 1.1 million people smashing the like button. And that doesn't even count December, which December is on track to be the channel's biggest year or biggest month ever. So love you guys. Appreciate you guys. It's been a fun ride. It's been a fun ride, and we're still growing. We're still evolving. We're still maturing our content. And like I've told you guys before, this whole thing is a process. Like what I am doing now isn't how I envision the end goal for this channel, which is exciting, right? We're 3 years in. There's a certain way I go about my content, but that's not where I have my end goal being. So I'm excited to see how this channel just keeps evolving. I mean, if you guys have been here, it's evolved so much from way back in the day. In 2021, when we were back in the garage with McDonald's Wi-Fi and goats in the background and all that type of stuff. So I'm excited to see what this channel looks like in a couple years. But for right now, man, I appreciate all you guys. Appreciate all you guys. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate all the familiar faces dropping in every single live. Mod Squad, SDS, legends. You guys are the best. Excited to see where we go from here. But until then, I will catch you guys tomorrow. And guess what? We'll do it all again. Appreciate y'all. I'm out here for now. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.